we meet Sir Miles Axelrod as the all-in-all schemer in Cars 2.
What? Me?
But for most of the film, his true identity and intentions are hidden behind the evil workings of his right-hand man, Dr. Zundapp, and his lemon car cartel, who continuously attempted to sabotage the World Grand Prix that was organized by Axelrod. Yep, Sir Axelrod was a complicated car and a very sneaky figure for the entire movie, especially with his all-in-all project that was actually a front for a bigger loot. But what if there was a deeper reason for the creation of Allinol, a secret rooted in his past? There might be some things you've missed about his scheme. So if you're still confused by Mater's revelation at Buckingham, here is a complete breakdown of Sir Miles Axelrod's insane Allinol project and how he intended to take down the world with his plan. First, it's important to look further into Axelrod's history, because on the front, Sir Miles Axelrod is a billionaire car and owner of the Axelrod Industries. But deep down, he was a lemon.
Lemon?
Yeah, you know, cars that don't ever work right. Lemons is a tow truck's bread and butter.
Who was bullied and made fun of most of his life. He probably had been bullied to such a point that he couldn't take it anymore, what eventually made him turn evil. And I think it also had something to do that he hasn't always had the best friends around. Because when we look at Cars 3, we can see an image of Miles Axelrod in Mr. Sterling's office. If you have seen Cars 3, you know that Mr. Sterling also wasn't the most friendly car, and he probably wouldn't have had such a good influence on Axelrod during their friendship. In Cars 2, Axelrod might have looked like a wealthy car, but he was still made fun of by other cars because of his rather odd build. You see, the animators at Pixar designed Axelrod based off the Range Rover Classic and Land Rover Defender 90, which are two cars famously known for their weird builds, so he wasn't the most good-looking vehicle in the Cars universe. But his build wasn't the main reason he was being bullied, it was because of his engine. It was terrible. He couldn't control his leaking, and his engine kept on breaking down, so they all started to call him Lemon. However, Sir Axelrod's worldwide fame was from his numerous attempts to travel around the world without a GPS. But unfortunately, according to Mel Dorado, the reporter and host of the 14 Gold Fender winning talk show, The Mel Dorado Show, Axelrod ran out of fuel in the forest and lost contact. So it was concluded that he had died.
Me?
A month later, however, Axelrod returns looking clean and not like he had been lost for a month. But what is most interesting is his new build. Completely transformed to an electric car, he now ran on fuel that, according to him, was made of natural elements. Apparently, being stranded in the rainforest without fuel forced him to be innovative enough to produce his own clean-burning fuel, which was marketed as sustainable, reliable, and safe, and named Allinol. Well, when we hear the rest of his story, I doubt if this was all really true. But we will get to that later, because after the publicity of Allinol, Sir Axelrod goes all out to get the world to adopt his new alternative energy. He reportedly sells his oil company, which is the biggest reserve that the franchise records, goes on several shows and interviews to push the positive media narratives of Allinol, and organizes a global racing competition, the World Grand Prix, where all the competitors are expected to only run on Allinol, and of course, which Lightning McQueen is a part of. And that's when Mater is introduced as a very interesting part of Axelrod's story.
Mater, tow Mater, that's who.
So after Lightning gets his invitation to the World Grand Prix, he and his best buddy Mater travel to Japan for the first race, but in the most Mater-esque way, the friendly rusty truck finds himself caught up in a fight between American Special Agent Rod Torque Redline and Dr. Zundapp's henchmen Grem and Acer. In the middle of the fight, Redline transfers his tracking device to Mater, and he is mistaken by the British spies for Redline. In order for a race car to take part in Sir Axelrod's World Grand Prix, there was one simple rule: all participants had to run on his alternative fuel, Allinol. You see, even though Allinol was pushed as the energy game changer for the Cars universe, in reality, it was just ordinary gasoline that had been disguised as clean. And what was even scarier about Allinol was how dangerous it was to cars that ran on it. When Allinol is exposed to an electromagnetic pulse, it expands until it eventually explodes. This theory was revealed by Dr. Zundapp shortly after he executed Redline. And during the first race in Tokyo, 3 cars blew up after Grem and Acer ignited them with a camera. During the second race in Italy, there was another incident of race car explosion, and questions began to arise about the reliability of this alternative energy. Because of the distrust for Allinol in the media, Axelrod lifts the requirement to use Allinol in the final race in London because of the safety concerns. But McQueen decides to keep racing with Allinol because he thought Axelrod was his friend, and this made him the next camera target of the Lemons during the final race in London. However, when the race starts, McQueen doesn't blow up even with the camera flashes. He is somehow defective to the electromagnetic pulse. Well, luckily for McQueen, it did seem that he also had some real friends, because Sarge secretly substituted Lightning's Allinol for regular gasoline, because he never trusted this weird Allinol fuel. But while McQueen was busy preparing for his last race, he didn't know that Mater was taken by the Lemons. While Mater was hanging in the big Bentley, the Lemons that were helping Professor Zundapp were preparing to take McQueen out. But of course, this didn't work, because McQueen wasn't racing on Allinol. So they told Mater they were going over on Plan B. Well, they told Mater that Plan B was a bomb under McQueen's hood, but in reality, it was actually Mater's hood. They tricked Mater to kill both cars at once, but their plan fails as Mater exposes Axelrod as the mastermind behind all the evil that has been going on, his evil plan with Allinol, and how he has been working behind the scene as the leader of the Lemon Gang. But the big question now is, how exactly did Axelrod plan on ruling the Cars universe by sabotaging his own invention, Allinol? You see, the real truth is that the main reason Axelrod wanted to take over the Cars universe was to take revenge on the car kind for how cruel they were to him as a lemon. Sir Axelrod and the rest of his lemons are cars that have always been bullied for their looks and appearance. During one of the Lemon Cars meeting that Axelrod attended as an anonymous leader, he said, "What if? You're basing this off a what if? The world turned their backs on cars like us. They stopped manufacturing us, stopped making our parts. The only thing they haven't stopped doing is laughing at us. They've called us terrible names: jalopy, rust bucket, heap, clunker, junker, beater, wreck, rattletrap, lemon. But their insults just give us strength, because today, my friends, that all ends. They laughed at us, but now it's our turn to laugh back." The main reason for all this evil was to take revenge on the cars that made fun of the Lemons. And if there were any cars good looking enough to mock other cars, it would have been race cars, which is why Axelrod organized the World Grand Prix. That led to a lot of race cars having their engines blown up during the competition. Axelrod knew how dangerous the energy form was, which was why he lied about converting his engines while still using regular oils. The first hint of this was in Tokyo, where he leaked and blamed Mater for the mess. And during the confrontation at Buckingham, Mater made it his goal to prove that he wasn't responsible for the spill. During his evil meeting, Axelrod also said this was meant to be alternative fuel's greatest moment, but after today, everyone will race back to gasoline, and we, the owners of the world's largest untapped oil reserve, will become the most powerful cars in the world. They will come to us, and they will have no choice because they will need us. So what did he mean by this was meant to be alternative fuel's greatest moment, if he was the one that allegedly created the alternative fuel? After Sir Axelrod's return from the rainforest, the reports were that he sold his oil company and invested all his resources into the development of Allinol, but that seemed to be false. Axelrod was a billionaire, so money was far from an issue for him, so he might have faked a report of him selling his oil company so that he still holds onto the control of the reserve when his Allinol eventually fails. At the same time, Axelrod could have actually sold his oil company, but to the Lemon Gang, which he secretly ran for most of the movie. So either way, he still had what he always wanted: control of the most important commodity in the world, and a solid leverage to use as a tool for his revenge. Well, it is safe to say that Sir Axelrod was a terrible car and a great liar.
Got to be crazy.
But what do you think? Would he have done this if he wasn't bullied? Could Sir Axelrod and Mr. Sterling be connected? Or is there another reason his image stands in Mr. Sterling's office? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more cars videos. See you in the next one.